Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Mordy and Glory video. In today's episode we are going to be asking and answering one simple question. What is the best loadout for your field ordnance battery? These large support platforms are pretty common in the Guard these days, and that's massively in part to the fact that they are a unit in the combat patrol, which is a gateway for many into the Guard. But if you're a beginner, it can be difficult to know which gun you should go for. The field ordnance battery comes with a variety of options, and you don't want to build it only to find out that you haven't gone for the best option. So today's video is going to take you through step by step the different weapons that you can build your field ordnance battery with and which one I recommend as the best. And so with all of that said, pretty sure that covers the briefing. Let's not muck around any further and dive right into today's episode. So the first thing that we're going to do is explore the different weapon options that this unit comes with. The Field Ordnance Battery, or FOB, as standard, consists of 2 ordnance teams, no more, no less. That in itself is a little unusual. Often with these kind of big weapon teams, you can take them as a minimum size of 1 and maybe go up to 2 or 3, but in this case, it is fixed. You always have 2 ordnance teams in your unit. Each one of these teams is equipped with a Malleus rocket launcher, a las gun, a las pistol, and battery close combat weapons. You can swap out the Malleus rocket launcher for a bombast field gun or a heavy las cannon. Now, there's nothing here that says that both guns must have a matching weapon. Maybe you want one with a Malleus, maybe you want one with a heavy las cannon. My advice would be to not do that. Don't mix and match. It's better to have your teams specialized, have them matching. And the reason for that is simple. If you have a unit with the Malleus rocket launcher, which is fundamentally an anti-infantry weapon, and well, don't worry, we'll get into stats in a moment, and then you have another one with a heavy las cannon, you might think that you're covering all your bases, bit of anti-infantry, bit of anti-tank. I can do everything now. Problem is that you won't do either one well enough. And fundamentally, the Field Ordnance Battery is a specialist unit. It's not like some battle line infantry, which you can give a variety of special weapons, which can then allow them to handle whatever foes they might come across as they're marching onto those objectives. No, Ordnance Batteries are support units. They're specialists, and they should be tailored to doing one job well. When it comes to these kind of units, it's always better to whole-ass one thing than half-ass 2. But now that we have established that you should have matching pairs with these guys, let's take a look at the weapon systems themselves. The Malleus rocket launcher, the default gun, is blast heavy. They're the special rules it has. And it's got a 48-inch range. It fires D6 plus 6 shots. It's ballistic skill 5 plus. It's strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. This is an anti-infantry weapon, and it is very good at shredding hordes of light infantry. Think other guardsmen or cultists or light infantry like termagants or minor demons. Anything that is typically toughness 3, at most toughness 4, and has got either a 5 or a 6 plus armor save, at most a 4 plus. Anything more than that, and it's not going to quite have the strength to get the job done or quite have the AP or the damage. It's not so good against Marines. It's okay against Marines, but the fact that it's only 1 damage per shot means that it takes 2 failed saves to kill your average 2 wound Space Marine. What I really like about the Malleus is just how many shots you can get out of this thing. D6 plus 6 shots from each gun means that when you've got 2 of them in a squad, because you've got 2 teams, you actually get 2d6 plus 12 shots. Then you get blast as well. If you're a total beginner, what blast does is it means each gun gets plus 1 shot for every 5 models in an enemy unit. If they've got 1 to 4 models, you won't get any extra shots. If they've got 5 to 9 models, you'll get plus 1 shot. If they've got 10 models, you'll get plus 2 shots, and so on and so forth. So this means if you're facing off against a proper horde, think a big unit of termagants, you'd get +4 shots because they come in 20 bug broods. That's +4 for each gun. So that's +8 on the blast for both teams combined. So you get 2d6 +12 +8 shots. That is so much firepower. That is going to clear through those broods like no tomorrow. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the heavy las cannon. This is very much an anti-tank option. It's heavy, which, like the Malleus rocket launcher, means that if it stays still, it gets +1 to hit. This can combine with the take aim order. I know a lot of people get confused by this, and one of the biggest comments I have on this channel is, Morden, you can't combine heavy with take aim, but you can. Heavy gives you +1 to your dice roll, take aim gives you +1 to ballistic skill. If you're very new to the game, don't worry if that's all very confusing. Trust me when I say that whilst at first it might look like the field ordnance battery is hitting on a 5, actually you have various mechanics to help you hit on a 4 or even a 3+. It's got a 48-inch range, good long range, and it fires 2 shots. That's really important because it's 2 shots per gun. You've got 2 guns in the overall battery, so that's 4 shots. And let me tell you, these are very powerful shots. Ballistic skill 5+, but strength 14. Wow. That's the same strength as a demolisher cannon. That is way stronger than a regular las cannon. That means that pretty much any vehicle that you come across in the game, you're going to be wounding on 3s. There are some exceptions where you might be wounding on 4s. I think Stompers are toughness 14, but they're very rare. No one really takes them. So all the Orc players crying in the comment section right now. It's not my fault. The Stomper's so cool, but it's just not that viable. But strength 14 is really, really good. It makes it a very good anti-tank weapon because it makes it able to deal with those high toughness units. The AP -3 means that even the toughest of opponents are going to have a hard time saving against things if they don't have an invulnerable save. And the D6 +1 damage gives you that reliability. Even if you roll a 1 on the damage dice, you're still going to get 2 damage. Means that you've got a good chance of actually tearing chunks out of your opponent when you get those shots through. Attention guardsmen, this is an announcement by the Departamento Militarum. Element Games is an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. They offer up to 20% off Warhammer 40k and 10% off Bolt Action and other game systems. Use the link down in the description to save money and support the channel. Anyone not using the link will be referred to the local commissariat. Also, don't forget that if you use referral code TIM3921, then you will receive double store credit, saving even more money on your future purchases. That's all for now. Fallout! Our final option is more of a middle of the road, jack of all trades, master of none, and that is the Bombast field gun. It's blast, heavy, and indirect fire. It has a 48-inch range. It fires D6 shots, ballistic skill 5+, strength 7, AP -1, and 2 damage. Now that D6 number of shots might seem a little swingy, but don't forget you have blast. So against hordes you'll be getting +1 to +4 shots. Also you've got 2 guns, so if one of them messes up, the other one should be able to pick up the slack. Strength 7 means that most infantry, light infantry, you'll be winning on 2s. Medium infantry, you'll be winning on 3s. Even heavy infantry, you're probably winning on 3s, at worst 4s. And any armor that you shoot this at, you're going to be more than likely winning on 5s. Now 5s isn't great, but it's not terrible. You're not fishing for 6s. AP -1 means that even if you're shooting this indirectly at someone or they're in cover, they're still not going to really feel it because the AP -1 cancels out the benefit of cover. And damage 2 means that whether it's a vehicle or an infantryman, that is going to sting because damage 2 will insta-splat any space marines. It will happily kill any light infantry, which typically only have 1 wound. And vehicles don't want to get hit by lots and lots of damage 2 shots either. That very quickly it's going to start grinding through their wounds. On the surface, you might think that the Bombast field gun sounds kind of lackluster. It's not got the volume of the Malleus, and it's not got the pure beef of the heavy las cannon. Just kind of unexciting. So you may be surprised when I say that it is by far the best weapon option, and it should be your go-to gun on your field ordnance batteries. And that is for one very simple yet important reason. It has the indirect fire special rule. This means it can shoot at targets it cannot see. The other weapons don't have that. The reason this is so important is the field ordnance battery, it might look like a big chunky unit, but actually by Warhammer standards it's very fragile. Toughness 5 with a 4+ save, even 6 wounds, that's going to get shredded very quickly. Spare bolter fire will start tearing through these things. Counter battery fire can be a bit of a problem as well from other people's artillery, although fortunately you don't find a lot of factions take quite as much RT as the Guard. As a result, the best defense that this fragile unit can have is not being seen. But if you hide it with only a 4-inch movement, there's a good chance that it won't be going anywhere fast to get the angles it needs if you take something like the Malleus rocket launcher or the heavy las cannon, or if you just hide it to keep it safe, well, then it's not doing any damage. Doesn't matter how many shots you've got or how punchy they are. If you're hiding them to protect them, then they're not actually doing any damage, and they're not really contributing. The Bombast Field Gun, whilst it's kind of a down the middle profile, it can sit out of line of sight, keeping it safe, and it can bombard the enemy turn after turn after turn. And whilst it might not do a huge amount of damage on each one of those turns individually, cumulatively over the course of the game, those shots, those wounds, and those failed saves are going to start stacking up, and your opponent is going to start feeling the pain. Another big advantage of it being able to fire indirectly is that it actually gets to benefit from the heavy rule. It gets to stay still and bombard enemies, meaning that it gets the +1 to hit, which helps counteract the fact that by shooting indirectly, it suffers -1 to hit. You combine that with the take aim order, which also gives you +1 to your ballistic skill, and you'll find that your field ordnance batteries with bombast field guns are able to hit on 4s, and then you can start adding in other force multipliers like sentinels, then they're just going to start hitting on 3s. The point is, they're going to be hitting fairly accurately, fairly consistently, if you support them in the right way. The heavy las cannon, because you've got to move with it, is rarely going to benefit from heavy, and so it's rarely going to be hitting on anything better than a 4+. If you start them out in the open so they can stay still and get a bead on the enemy, well, you better hope you go first, because if you don't, your opponent is going to identify them as a threat quickly, and they're going to pick them up even quicker. In my mind, what seals the deal and makes the Bombast Field Gun the best option by far is how well it pairs with the ability on its datasheet. Rearm, reload, and fire. While this unit is being affected by an order, provided it remains stationary this turn, all heavy weapons equipped by models in this unit have the sustained hits 1 ability. So again, it's encouraging you to stay still. If you have to get line of sight on people, you're not going to be staying still with the Malleus or the heavy las cannon, but the Bombast can stay still and bombard every single turn. So now not only is it going to be hitting on 4s with take aim and staying still, and it's going to be hitting without being able to be hit back because it's firing indirectly, but also every time you roll a 6 to hit, you're going to be getting an extra hit. It's a sustained hit, and because it stays still and you're in the guard, if you stay still and shoot the guard, you get lethal hits. So suddenly this thing is hitting on 4s, it's got blast, it's got indirect, it's got sustained hit, it's got lethal hits. All of these things just stack up in favor for the Bombast Field Gun. It just really is by far the best choice. There's also some of the real life factors, the real life logistics you have to take into account. If you're a newer player starting off, you need artillery in your army. It's one of the 3 things that makes Guard great. You've got infantry, you've got tanks, and you've got artillery. And without all 3 of those, your combined arms force is going to fall apart quickly. For many people who start off with the combat patrol and with things like Cadia stands, the only access to artillery they have at the beginning is the Bombast Field Gun. Sure, maybe later you can go out and get Manticores and Basilisks, but then you're having to buy more artillery when you've already got artillery. And when you're a new player, your combat patrol is going to cover you for your infantry and your artillery, but then you're going to want to start buying some independent tank kits like Lehman Russes and Rogel Dawns. So it's just a really good way of getting one of the 3 fundamental types of unit into your army, and it's great for beginners to start experiencing the power of indirect fire. So overall, whilst the Malice rocket launcher and the heavy las cannon are pretty good guns in their own right, because of how fragile the fob is, really, they're not the best option. They might get 1 volley off before getting destroyed. But the Bombast field gun is a great option. It's the best one. It's the one that I recommend by far because it can stay safe, it can shoot, and it pairs up well with the other things that you're going to be running in your list and its own abilities. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Are you a fan of the Field Ordnance Battery? And if so, what is your favorite weapon? Regardless of how good it is, what's the one that you like the best? Maybe the one that you think looks the coolest. Also, how many would you include in your army? Personally, I think a pair of batteries, so 4 guns in total, works quite well, but you might think more or less than that. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, and they have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a big shout out to Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys so much. Your incredible generosity is a massive part of how I'm able to do Mordian Glory full time, and it is a big driving force behind the channel. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.